Welcome, Danny Burstein, the latest member of World Funk Orchestra.
Thanks, Mitchell. It's great to be here.
God, Danny, I have to say this up front. We first met when you were doing Moulin Rouge, and you were the voice that I was hearing from everyone. You're going to meet Danny. Oh my God, Danny is special. Danny's special. We have royalty in the show. When people say that about you, does that make you wince? Or you have such an outstanding reputation, not only as a performer, but a human. Saying that to you, what's your reaction?
Well, it's better than the opposite, I guess. But I'm just a kid from the Bronx. You know, when I was 6, my family moved to Queens. I'm a New York City kid, grew up here, and I'm just absolutely like anybody else, and that's the way I see myself. I see myself as a union guy, you know, somebody who just goes to work, and I love all the people at work. I love high-fiving the doorman when I walk in and hanging out with the stage hands. I've always been that guy. So I guess maybe it's because I'm not pretentious in any way about the work and about who I am. I just love telling stories, and that's just what I happen to do. But the other part that goes along with it, where people talk about you, I don't even know what any of that means. I just like having a good time. That's it.
Do you love acting or singing or both? Is it old, or is being a character, or what is it for you?
To me, it's always the story, you know, and people ask me all the time, what do you like better? TV, film, theater? And it's whatever the story is. If it blows my skirt up, you know, that's what I like. That's where I go. That's where I point my sights.
So allow me to embarrass you the second of at least 3 or 4 times.
Okay.
When we were working on Moulin Rouge, it was a disappointment to me because we worked with it was exciting, but the disappointment to me was we never got to work with you. We worked with everybody else. And I knew you were from the Bronx. I knew I'm from Brooklyn. And I kept hearing go, this guy, and you go, oh my God, he's got such a smush. And then you walked in when we did the MTA Only Sure Way to Make It to Broadway. And you walked in full costume, and we looked at each other. And then from my perspective, I just said, brother, and I gave you a hug. You hugged me back. I can't explain to you how much it meant to me. Like, and we've been around, but there's something about you, brother. You have an aura.
Oh, thanks. Well, you too. You know, you've got this very welcoming spirit. I walked into that room, into that train car, is what it was. And it was automatically just a friendly place. So it was just a place to come play and be kind and have fun. And that was because of you.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Well, it's very much together. And then the last third embarrassment of maybe continuing is, so Elephant Crush. We have this idea and the song's coming out really well. And I go, but for World Funk, it can't just be a song. It has to be, we're trying to do things you can't do anything in music anymore the way it was done. And we're just telling stories. It just happens to be music. And so why not write a narrator? And then it's like, wait, now I think you were in between finishing one thing, going to Toronto, and I wrote to you, I said, Danny, brother, I have a music project. Would you help us out? Why on earth did you say yes?
Well, why not? I liked you. You're a nice guy, and if I had the time to do it, of course I'm going to try and do it. And it sounded like fun. So
the embarrassment after the fact is when I looked up your credits, I saw I was describing it as, you'll play the John Lithgow part from Footloose. You remember? And you've worked with John. Of course you've worked with John Lithgow. So. Yeah,
John is an old friend. In fact, John was the person who handed me my Tony Award when I won a Tony Award. So we're dear friends. I love him so much. Yeah. We did a wonderful play off Broadway together for like 6 months. It was just a 3-hander with me, John, and Sigourney Weaver. I know. I pinch myself all the time.
Let's get to what we're doing today. And the biggest part of all of us with World Funk, to do music at this point in our lives, because music is so important and the project's so important, you can't do it without a greater purpose. Otherwise, why bother? I mean, at this point, why bother?
Yeah.
And in our background, we worked with a number of foundations as their agency and what have you. And what we're talking about today is IamALS.org. And could you tell us a little bit about it and how your connection came to it?
Well, my connection, unfortunately, came in a very sad way, really. My beautiful wife, Rebecca Luker, passed away from ALS almost 3 years ago now. And she was having symptoms of ALS for about a year and a half. And then she was finally diagnosed, and then only lasted 13 months after her diagnosis. The norm is, and it's a terrible norm, 2 to 5 years from diagnosis. So she went very quickly, and the meds were just, and still aren't the best. They literally said to us, start taking the medication. It'll help you live longer. But you have to start taking it ASAP. And we thought, okay, got it. We got the prescription, and we asked the doctor, how much time will the medication give us? And they said, well, it may give you 2 months. It was like, that's the good thing. That's the only medication we have. Just it's going to give us maybe 2 months. So, I mean, it was really quite a blow. And, it's the most debilitating, or sometimes called Lou Gehrig's disease. It's the most debilitating disease you can imagine, because all your muscles start failing, even though, this is her type of ALS. Her muscles started failing, and cognitively, she was there. It's the ultimate in claustrophobia and watching your whole body deteriorate. It's kind of like it's basically a nightmare. And she handled it bravely, and she, just never gave up hope until the very end. And she was a beautiful, amazing human being who was an amazing singer on Broadway in shows like Phantom of the Opera and The Secret Garden and The Sound of Music and Music Man. And she had one of the most glorious voices. She was like the Barbara Cook of our time. And raunchy and funny and smart and you would have loved her. And so one of the organizations that helped us out, I found to be especially helpful, was IamALS. And it was founded by a guy named Brian Wallach and his wife, Sandra Abrevaya. And they actually had one-on-one conference calls. You sat down with them. They met with you, and they talked about your plan, how we move forward, how we help not only the family and not only the actual patient, but the caregivers and the family. And they're really hands-on, and they push for and they lobby for stuff with Congress. And they were, in fact, very important in getting something called the Act for ALS passed a couple of years ago, which allows extra funding for experimental drugs, so people have access to them, and it really is funding a cure. And as I said, it was founded by a guy named Brian Wallach, who used to work in the Obama administration as a lawyer, and he was very proactive. He got his diagnosis, and he went, "There's no way I'm leaving my wife and 2 daughters," and he fought like crazy. He really has been an amazing advocate, he and his wife, Sandra. When you needed a hand and you needed somebody kind, they were there. And I really, will never forget their help. And I know Becca appreciated it too, and Becca lobbied Congress as well. So we were a part of that. No, I get emotional. Nobody wants to live through this. Nobody wants to get this. I've talked to doctors like pediatric oncologists, and I tell them Rebecca passed from ALS, and they go, "Oh, that's the worst." So everybody generally understands that ALS is this awful, awful way to go. And we don't want that to ever happen anymore. That's it. That's the bottom line. We want to find a cure for this damn disease. that has taken the lives of so many incredible people.
How much love do you have in your heart for your wife, for Rebecca?
Well, the amount of grief that you have is equal to, the amount of love that you had. That's part of the deal, I guess. You love so much, and then all of a sudden, they're not there, and then you grieve so much. Yeah, I still miss her every day. I still have her picture right, on my mantle, and our son our 30-year-old son just got engaged. And she was the first person I wanted to tell. It's difficult because what can you do? It's like, this is what life gives you, and you just have to, move on. But there's a whole lot of love in my heart and a whole lot of gratitude for the time that we had together.
I always say, and I told my daughter about when she was very young, and I explained to her that my sister and my parents and my brother-in-law and my niece, they're hanging out right here. Right. I can see them, and you visualize it, and it does give you a sense of warmth. Karma is a fact, and positivity is, the more you put it out there, the more you're embraced by it. At least we believe. Danny, you are.
Amen, brother.
You are an amazing person. You and Rebecca, from everyone that we have as mutual friends now, say Danny and Rebecca are royalty in Broadway, and so I salute you, and I doff my cap to you. For people who want to learn more about the organization, where would we send them?
Go straight to their website, iamals.org.
And please, everybody that sees this, and so many will, if you can't give money, it's okay. Learn more about it. One act of kindness is all we ask for anyone that sees this. Thank you, brother, for taking the time.
It's great to be here with you, Mitchell, and thanks so much for all you're doing.
Such a beautiful day, yeah. Such a beautiful